for a while. So I got fired from a corporate job 15 years ago. And when I got out of the corporate world, I made some time to go out networking and met a guy at a networking event. And I was selling candles. I was doing home-based business, selling candles and doing home parties. And he suggested to brand myself. Now, of course, I could have told this guy he's crazy. I have no idea what he's talking about. So I'm just going to ignore him. But I didn't. And I took the time to sit down with him, have coffee, and he helped me co-create my first business, which my first business was called Gift Problem Solver. So I was known as the Gift Problem Solver for 7 years, selling candles, purses, and jewelry. Then my second business was called Great People Skills, my second GPS company, which was focusing on a 8-hour workshop that was about experiential communication skills, teaching people how to pay attention, ask questions, be more interested, be more enthusiastic. Something that with trust would bring the right people in that you want to attract into making more connections. So anyways, I did that workshop for about 5 years. And then I've been this business right now that's called Great Partnership Solutions is my third GPS business that's almost 5 years old in November. And it actually is my third GPS business as I look at it saying, wow, Norman came up with Gift Problem Solver. And so I consider myself a human GPS. I'm here to guide you into directions and things that maybe you didn't think of because I'm human and I'm very resourceful. So I'm very grateful to learn several skills like networking, marketing, follow-up. How's my follow-up, Jerry, by the way? I was gonna say, Jerry, make sure you stay on.
Sorry, trying to find my mouse here.
No problem.
No, follow-up, amazing. Amazing. You're definitely very good at follow-up. I think everybody could learn from your follow-up.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna have you stay off mute if I would love to get you to, well, since I can't seem to bring this PowerPoint presentation up, but I'll go ahead and I'll grab people. I see I got 2 Thomas Russells in the room. What a coincidence to have 2 people under the same name. Is that, I don't know, 2 people in the group here. It looked like it was 2 Thomas Russells.
Husband and wife.
What's that?
I believe they're husband and wife, so they're under the same link.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Because I want to be calling the wrong person. All right, cool. All right, so those are some things I wanted to share. So would anybody like to share with the group? I have a slide here that says, what does networking mean to you? Who would like to share with us what does networking mean to you? Other than Jerry. Okay, Valentina, go for it.
Opportunities.
Okay. Opportunities for?
To grow my business and learn about other people's business as well and see what can work and as a referral source for my clients if that's the case.
Right. So if we don't meet people and take a card and sit down to make coffee with them, what's going to happen then? Yes, those opportunities are not going to happen, right? Or these little golden nuggets, I say, because I feel like people have ideas and interesting insights that we never knew about. We kind of stay in a bubble, but if we don't sit down with people and have those conversations, we wouldn't be learning something that we didn't even know what might be available to us. So, all right, cool. All right, so what the internet has to say about what is networking. It says networking can refer to the exchange of information and ideas between people with a shared interest or profession, or to the connection of devices. Don't worry about that part. Professional networking, it says, a way for professionals to expand their networks, learn about job opportunities, and stay up to date on trends and news in their field. Networking can happen in person at events like trade fairs and conventions, online through professional networking platforms. So yes, it could be done anywhere. So at the end of the day, I'll say that I basically break it down to say there are humans everywhere. So wherever you are, there's an opportunity. So without having the confidence, and so when you build your confidence to say, stick your hand out, introduce yourself, that's the first start to everything, right? And the next step would be start asking questions, whether at a friend's house, a grocery store, baseball game, there's probably a human somewhere that you could be standing in line in a food line and could be having a conversation with somebody before you actually get to the food. And you just never know what could happen. But I also, like Jerry said, it's I consider networking like a sport. We got to learn how to play the game, but nobody taught us how to play. So you can't read a book in basketball and actually know how to play. You do need to get some humans involved, a ball involved, a court involved, and probably a coach to guide you in how to play. So that's why I consider this a 2-part workshop. So far, Jerry has attended the first part, which I'll talk about later. And on Tuesday, we're going to put into a live practice on Tuesday at a live networking event. So I'm switching back to my slides here. So my first step that I have is called be memorable. Number 1 is be memorable. have a physical and digital business card. This is our first piece of marketing material. The front side should include your picture, yes, a headshot, your phone number, a website, email, and a logo. Often I see people do not have a picture, and most times people get forgotten because your picture's not on there. Your picture's on LinkedIn, your picture's on a driver's license. So often I see people go through cards down the road, 3 months, 3 years later, often they might throw you away because there is no picture, because we do business with humans and not with cards. So kind of like going to a restaurant, looking at the food on a menu, but if you looked at the people's food around the restaurant and you started liking the food you saw, you'd be like, what is that? What are they eating? You might be more enticed to go, oh, I'll have that instead. So yes, like having a physical card and a digital card is important, even though I prefer a physical card versus a digital, because to me, the digital is one more opportunity to pull out the phone, get distracted, find a place to keep it and store it. For me, if you're, I don't know about you, but if you like having money in your hand, you like a credit card, that's tangible. So having a business card takes 2 seconds to exchange, be part of a raffle, drop it off at a business. You can't do that with a digital. Then you have to remember where you stored all these cards. So you got cards in the hand and you got cards on a phone. So to me, if they're 2 different places, how do you actually merge the 2 to keep on top of your follow-up? So I often take information off a digital card, put it on paper, and how I organize my business cards is actually I staple them in a notebook, which I taught Jerry. I get home from an event and I keep them all organized that way. All right, so that's first step is number 1. Make sure to be on the backside of your business card, having your services and a QR code. My QR codes go to my website, even Label's website. I also have a YouTube channel with over 200 short motivational videos. And I also have a link to Eventbrite, by the way, Valentina, so people can actually find me on Eventbrite at some of my events. So I put that on there. The goal is that our business card's the first step in our marketing. So make it as memorable as possible so people can find you, want to connect with you, and giving something of value. All right, number 2 is to show up. Make sure you attend in-person events, networking events, expos, conferences, and even virtual events. So at the end of the day, not sure where you're at, but here in South Florida, we might get some rainy days and get stuck indoors for a while. Some people have snow, then they get locked in. So if you do have the time, make the time to still attend a virtual event and have the same kind of goals. You walk into a networking event with maybe possibly, I say, at least 2 or more quality people, and click on people's calendars in that networking virtual event and click on those calendars to set up a one-to-one. Because at the end of the day, if we're not meeting people, then we're just wasting more time, going to these events, but yet having piles of cards, but no connections are made, no follow-up is being made, no opportunities are being presented to us in front of us and us to other people as well. So I'd say from 9 to 6, I spend my quality time either in front of people for coffee, a networking event, following up, or doing my services or workshops. That's where my full time should be spent, especially from 9 to 5 hours. All right. Number 3 is set a goal. Know exactly who you are. Know exactly who you want to meet. Ideal clients, partners, resources, and other opportunities. Have a goal in mind. So yes, I'd say definitely have a goal, because without having a goal, then we're just all over the place and just hoping, wishing, praying something's going to happen. So networking's a sport. Got to play the game. The game is to win. So my intention to go to every networking event, since it's 2 hours, my intention is to meet at least 5 or more quality contacts or clients, people I enjoyed conversations with, or potential clients I had interest in their service or they're in mine. And the goal is I set up 2 or more coffee appointments before I leave. Because we hate chasing people via email or text to try to schedule that coffee appointment. So just like your dentist does, schedule the appointment before you actually leave the event. Imagine how much more time you could save. Because when I go to a networking event, if I go to 2 to 4 events a week, and my goal is to have 2 or more coffee appointments, what does my calendar look like the week or the following week after? Coffee appointments on my calendar. And of course, a few might postpone, but that's okay. I will continue following up to keep meeting in person. So yes. And some networking events, I might walk out with 4, which I did the other day. So 4 one-on-one scheduled before I left. So extra level of winning. All right, number 4. Number 4 is perfect your pitch. 30 seconds that sparks curiosity. Include your name, title, and who is your ideal client. Consider including common challenges and your solutions. So I'll just share mine, for example. So mine is simple and sweet. My name is Carrie Klimas. I host a networking skills practice workshop. My ideal client is a growth-minded professional or small business owner who is willing and ready to master best networking key practices. They also want to master conversation starters, master networking goals, and their follow-up. So if any of those four interest you that you wish to master, I look forward to us connecting. So if any of those four they're not interested in, not wish to master, they're not my ideal client. They have to be willing and ready to know that they know that this will support them in creating better results and not wasting more time at a networking event or wherever you're at because you're not having those goals set up or how to connect with people, convert with them, or being organized with a plan. Because even a best step going to a networking event before it actually starts, I'll say the business card and having a real physical name tag and your LinkedIn profile set up. And also your voicemail set up, asking people to leave you a message and sending you a text for faster response. Not sure if Jerry's done that yet. If he has that, if you did, awesome. All right. Number 5 is be human. Authenticity beats a sales pitch. I say this is the original AI. So say that the AI we call right now is artificial. I'm not artificial. I know you're not artificial. So the goal is to be more intentional and be more human and be more authentic. So I say the original AI is authentic interactions and want to have more of those with people and using an acronym, but I think Jerry and Michael know and may use the acronym FORM versus FORD. So that acronym FORD stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, and connecting with people at networking events, coffees, and being able to ask better questions to be more interested in others that I trust you would prefer more people to be interested in you and getting to know who you are before diving into business. All right. Number 6 is the 24-hour rule. Yes, 24 hours. Follow up to grow your professional network. This is what we're doing to what we want to do. Follow up to grow your professional network who may become clients, referral partners, friends, resources, connections, etc. at a local coffee shop or virtual. This is what every person might possibly fit in one of those boxes. But if we don't meet them, there is no potential for any of that happening. That's when we get cards or cards sitting on your phone, information, contact information. But without that follow-up and inviting people, follow-up to me means meet up, like dating. I'm going to say that the networking event is kind of like a one-night stand. You just go and meet people and poof, it's over. But if you're single and you're into a singles, a bunch of men or women, you're single and you met a good-looking guy, and you met a good-looking girl, and if you don't invite her out for coffee, the next guy who does will be ahead of you. So treat this as an opportunity to get to know each other, because otherwise we just assume what each other does and has a wonderful card that I know nothing about. Because I often will say that if my neighbor, which I do have a neighbor, and he actually did refer me to somebody who's a handyman. I had 2 other people referred me handyman. And so because my neighbor had somebody he liked and connected with, I reached out to him. So I trust that we wouldn't just email people we never really met, but we prefer to probably refer people we did meet, know, liked, and trust, and they did good service. They were definitely, the work ethics were good, if not better. And that's why we refer them, not just based on the card and we don't really know them. It would definitely save a lot of time if we can give people or true value of what we learned from these people, whether do business with them or not. And then if not, keep researching and find the right fit. So yes, do the best that you can within 24, 48 hours, inviting people for coffee. Do not email everybody about your business. I find a lot of people email, nice to meet you, this is what I do, but there's no call to action. Inviting people, if you're going to email them, invite them to say, nice to meet you. We look forward to building a professional network and grow a professional network and exploring opportunities for collaboration. If this interests you, how's your schedule next week? And I might give a few dates, and I might even say, if this interests you, want to meet virtually, click my calendar link below, because I do have a booking tool on my email signature to keep it one step closer to meeting them versus not meeting them at all. All right, number 7 is a digital handshake. I trust many of you probably have, if not know of, at least LinkedIn. So LinkedIn being around for over 23 years, I believe, I'm going to say, is like a resume for us. So for me, having my face out there that's matches what we're currently doing, pictures the same, banners updated, profiles updated, and if not, this would be a good time to be sure you do so. And if not, then those are another one of the services I provide, because I believe keeping my LinkedIn, polished and professional, up to date, because I'm not sure who may reach out to me, not sure where they're coming from, but I want to be available for anybody and anybody to reach out to me, whether it's my website, YouTube channel, LinkedIn, or even Alignable, which is actually another business social media platform. But I think keeping our business, LinkedIn up to date and knowing how to really communicate with people, because I do find people who message us may be salesy, and I get that for sure. But there have been a few women, if I'll say, that have locally who actually reach out to me and didn't have a call to action. So I replied to their message and said, thank you so much for reaching out. I would love for us to connect. So how's your calendar, next week? But if that interests you, here's a link to my calendar to choose the best day and time that works for you. They clicked on it. We met virtually. And next thing you know, we're doing the networking skills practice workshop, because people message, but there's no call to action to invite them to meet virtually to have that one-on-one.
Hey, what's up, bro? I gave you another email.
Oh, okay. All right. So those were 7 of my tips so far, but I'm going to throw in a couple of them, which I think I just mentioned. A bonus was having a name tag. So I have a real name tag with just my first name on it. So no title, no logo. I used to do that, but now I just keep this simple first name, big letters, because most of the end of the day, most people forget our names, our first names. They really don't really care about the rest, but the goal is to make it curious, that they want to see, they want to talk to us, as long as they can read it, because usually over 40, we may not have the best eyesight. So, being able to read somebody's name tag and making it large enough for people to read, it also makes us stand out to say, oh, you got a name tag. You're welcome. I'm trying to help you out to remember who I am and make that next level of, being more professional when it comes to networking, not wearing this paper card, paper name tag. But yeah, those are some of my voicemail setup, and having a Sharpie. Like yesterday, I went to a speed networking. I don't know if anybody's been to a speed networking, but I do enjoy them. We had about 50, 60 people there. You only get a minute and a half each. So I have a pile of cards and I have a Sharpie. So when the person moved, I then would put a check by it to say, yes, I want to follow up with them. No check means I was not going to follow up with them. And I could also make other notes, because I find sometimes people have business cards that are shiny, but you can't write on with a pen. So carrying a Sharpie, you actually take better notes on writing on cards, whatever it is your little heart desires to write on it. Check it, where they live, what you had talked about. That's what I find valuable in what I did yesterday, so I can remember the things we talked about by using that Sharpie. A couple of things I'll just say, that some of the skills and attitudes that are needed because again, we're playing a game, and networking is called networking, and we're just not taught how to play. But going in with a winning attitude creates winning results. Having the open-mindedness to be willing to change things and be open-minded to what could be possible, be honest and be committed, because in the day, these are new things that you're going to learn, and you could actually keep spending more money at events that you keep going back to. But what if you learn the skills first and actually understood networking better to get the best results for wherever you're at, whether it's a networking event, expo, conference, or friends party, you actually know exactly what you're looking for. So wherever you're at, you'll have that elevator pitch, goals in mind, and help define who your ideal clients are, partners are, and you just never know who or where they might be. And you also have written down some thought-provoking questions that might be more intentional about what you ask based on your elevator pitch. So no matter where you're at, you're going in with a winning attitude to come out with at least a couple of coffee appointments scheduled, or at least one, if not more, scheduled before you leave any event where you're at. I think of one coffee appointment scheduled per hour. So if you get any more than that, then congratulations, you're on the winning team. So, and you just keep doing it over and over again. So anyways, I don't want to take too much of your time. I knew I do want, too bad my not showing here, but I wish I could share it too, but I guess I can email it to you. Actually, I think something showed up. I think I might be in luck. Yay. Am I in luck?
We can see that.
Yay!
Woohoo!
Something happened. All right. So this is where I just wrapped up at, but I'll say too that this is really what I want to share with you. So this is the part that Jerry and I have wrapped up. So, him and I, we spoke about the understanding the best and poor practices when it comes to networking before, during, and after. We discussed about the FORD, FORD, and the questions. So I make it interactive. So using Jerry, because obviously he participated. He reads the best. I read the pour, and we just go back and forth because when people participate, you're also taking the information in better and they're not boring you to death. And so now you can comprehend a little bit better and keeping yourself awake and more knowledgeable to understand exactly what you're reading. We go over some local networking events and get you organized. And I provide, or if you're virtual, I can make sure you have a College Line notebook and any business cards that you've collected, at least get you start getting organized and getting them stapled, because again, it's about moving forward what you can do. Like yesterday, I came back from an event, and before I went to bed, I made sure I stapled them. I didn't want to sit them in a pile because if I keep going to events, there'll be more piles, and I didn't want to keep doing that. I wanted to make sure I knew exactly the location, the event, and the date that I went to, so I don't forget that at least. So this is part one. And Jerry, anything else, Jerry, you'd like to share about this part one at least, or anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I mean the workshop, it's literally like a networking boot camp, honestly is what I would probably compare it to, because what you're doing is really um you're you're fine-tuning the process, right? A lot of times we go to networking and kind of we do things all over the place, and like what you just said about taking notes, the night that you came back from the networking event and doing it quickly is critical, because we tend to forget, we have a lot of conversations and we will forget, what did we talk about to this person and who is that person? And then next thing you know, you start mixing people up. You're like, oh yeah, Carrie, she's the dentist. No, she's not. She's not the dentist. But you just start mixing people up and it gets, hazy. So it's really critical to do that. And I think, the workshop for me, it just gave me a lot more structure, which was needed because, I want to improve my networking. I feel like that workshop definitely did. I went to an event last Thursday. Before I left, I scheduled 3 meetings, so that's something I may not have done before because it just wasn't top of mind. But I had that goal. I knew exactly what, some of the things I wanted to get out of it, and I left there with meetings. And the very next morning, I was already reaching out to the other people that I didn't, so it's just much more intentional. And this helped me a lot in that process.
Cool. Thank you for adding that. So this is part one. So as you can see, this is a 2.5 hours, whether virtual or in person. For lucky for you guys that if you're a local, look forward to meeting you, whether it be a networking event or taking on to this workshop. But then what Jerry and I are doing on Tuesday is we're meeting an hour before the networking event starts. I'll review some of the best practices we spoke about, seeing if he's anything that he'd written down that he wanted to get accomplished, and remind if he did, great. Look forward to hearing about it. If not, just a little friendly reminder. I have what I call a networking goals worksheet. It's a piece of paper that helps define who your ideal clients are, what their best qualities are you're looking for in people, what their challenge and their solution is. Then to support you in crafting your elevator pitch, you get to write it down on the back of the paper, as well as coming up with more thought-provoking questions that align with your elevator pitch. Maybe you've never asked, or the goal is things you've really never asked before, who your ideal synergy partners are, maybe some services you're looking for. Maybe you also want to be in podcasts or do lunch and learns, because writing those things down makes it more top of mind. And last but not least is, how many ideal contacts you like to connect with, clients, and then how many one-on-ones you like to have scheduled before you leave. And then we go into the networking event and walk in, and Jerry will put it right into practice right then and there. And that goal is to hear about his success, how it went, and celebrate his, his wins and those connections he's made. And that paper is going to be useful for going to every event going forward. So at least you have it written down. So now you're more clear, have some direction, and really knowing who and what you're looking for and what you want to walk away with, instead of maybe not wasting time. And because you're not clear what you're looking for, you're just going there. And now that you do have some goals written down, you've now can celebrate and create more ideal clients, create more of the income, I guess, trust that you want, and more of the ideal clients you wish to be willing to pay you what you're looking to ask for. But yeah, so I think, but sometimes we don't know who the ideal client is, and a lot of time and money gets wasted. But from this workshop, what you'll end up having is a College Line notebook with organized business contacts. You'll have a follow-up success guide. On the success guide, it actually lets you know what my verbiage is when it comes to follow-up, meeting people in person, as well as what Gemini AI has to say about meeting in person. So one authentic way of inviting people for coffee, and one that artificially has to say about meeting for coffee. You'll also receive a networking skills and practice success guides summarizing the key principles and strategies. You'll have a personalized elevator pitch and some networking goals. And last but not least, a certificate of completion. So documenting your personal development. So that is what entailed in this 2-part workshop. There are part 3 that if you do go additional events and you like my guidance for setting up, making sure your elevator pitch is refreshed and up to date, as well as any additional follow-up after the event is over. So that's something I'll be sharing with Jerry later, but that's something that could keep making sure the momentum's going and you're still on top of your goals and still developing and growing and creating more success at the networking events rather than being a one and done. But since I'm out and about networking, you're certainly welcome to join me, or we can chat before you even attend a networking event. But last but not least, I do have, I want to share here is my YouTube channel, and it's called Carrie Clima's GPS. Over 200 short motivational videos. I do have a video in each of my workshops, like this networking skills practice workshop. You go to my website, which will be Great Partnership Solutions. And then being able to, you could also see a video on there, show you the documents I talked about. So any of that you want to, review, you certainly can, and you can certainly do that. But yeah, I do a goal setting workshop, business plan workshop. I can teach Canva, online presence. So a variety of things on there, but just wanted to stay focused today on the networking skills practice workshop, especially since Jerry obviously has taken part 1 and we're looking forward to part 2. And he definitely wanted to share this with you guys. And if this is something of interest, feel free to reach out to me. Love to connect with you, and possibly if there's something you'd like to invest in yourself within, and look forward to partnering with you and working with you to make those happen. So,
excuse me, Jerry, can I ask you a quick question?
of course.
Yeah, so I've joined a group out here in Phoenix, and I'm meeting people, but I'm really not doing anything with it. Right? What's the next step in all that? I mean, let me ask you this. Should I be dropping these cards into like go high level and have it fire off an email to these folks, or is that worthwhile? I mean, what's my next step? What do I do
Okay.
to
So did I
make this
understand?
worthwhile?
Did you go to a networking event?
I do them virtually.
Okay, so you did go virtually. So if you've done virtual networking events, have you clicked on any of their calendars to set up a one-on-one with them?
Some people want to. I don't understand what that means, right? What does that mean? Hey, let's get on Zoom for a few. I'm being serious. I really don't know what that means or what that looks like or what's expected of me. I really don't do that.
Well, consider like a date. A date. You have to. The goal is we want to take an hour of our time to give to other people to learn more about each other and our businesses, finding out what we have to offer, and we'll see if there's any interest in what we do offer. Kind of like dating. So if you have a beautiful woman and you want to have her invite her for coffee, when you want to get to know her and who she is and what she likes to do, and seeing if it's a match and maybe have a second date with her or not. But that's what we want to do. We want to be able to follow up with people, get to know them. If you're interested in what they have, if I would say that any conversation that you felt was a great conversation during those few minutes you chatted with, then great. Follow up with them and say, I'd love to get to know about you and your business and seeing how we can build our professional network. That's basically my verbiage I use. It's all we're really doing. Now, some will, some won't, some don't. But again, some might have a boring conversation at a networking event. If you don't feel the conversation was of any interest when you spoke with them, don't bother asking them coffee. Imagine what an hour coffee would look like.
Well, the way they do that is it's a big gathering first, which they have a speaker, and then they do breakout rooms for an hour, right? And then they randomly move you around in these smaller groups of 3, 4, 5 with a moderator at each room, right? So you're not one-on-one. How would you, when somebody's talking about what they do, you just send them a note maybe on LinkedIn and, hey, I was interested in what it was. I mean, like literally, what do I say? Hey, I'm interested in what you had to say. Let's talk for a few minutes.
Yeah, so I did a lot of virtual networking during COVID. So I was definitely attached to a computer for many years, and that's where I learned Calendly, because within an hour of a networking event, when I only get to speak once to introduce myself, I'm like, what's this Calendly thing? That was their booking tool, and they had the hyperlink. So I clicked on it, booked time in their calendar, and next thing you know, we're gonna have a date, a half-hour conversation online to get to learn more about each other. I just think having the booking tool is going to save time. So, but if you go on LinkedIn, you can message them. It says, great meeting you at this event. Love to connect with you and build a professional network. If that interests you, here's my calendar, or here are some dates I'm available, or what do you have available?
And do you actually ask for referrals at these meetings?
Well, at these meetings, I guess you could say you can, but I guess you might want to find out what their interest is, what their challenges are. You want to get to know about who they are and what they have to offer. I mean, like I said with a lady for coffee today, and she does bookkeeping. Now I do my own bookkeeping. I've been on top of that. I know how to use Excel. I do that. Now, can I keep her in mind? Absolutely. I said, well, I'll keep you in mind. So if anybody needs bookkeeping, I will probably for you and a couple of people I know that do bookkeeping. I could create a 3-way email. Now that's up to my person I introduce you to for them to feel that you're a right fit for them. I mean, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, that's, I will just be able to keep you guys top of mind, and they have to do the rest of the part that goes with that referral. I mean, I can
Do you
refer
expect
Jerry, but
anything?
Jerry has to make that connection with them to see if they're a right fit for what he has to offer.
Do you expect anything in return from making that connection?
No expectations, but I'm gonna ask, I say, I've learned along the way. I had to ask myself after every event, in person, virtual, ask yourself, what went well? What could I have done better? So when I've learned that, to ask myself, what did I walk, if I'm sitting with Jerry and I met coffee with him, my intention is I'm going to walk away with something. I need to know what his interest is. Is that in a service? Is it a workshop? Or is he subscribing to my YouTube channel? Or can I also invite him to my email database? So those are 4 boxes I want to ask to find out which he might be interested in. And shame on me for not asking. But I have those and my intentions to say, well, can I keep you in mind? Like the lady today, I probably said, well, can I keep you in mind and put you on my email database where I send out emails twice a week in regards to business ideas, tips that come from content, website content, networking events. Would that be something that interests you? Okay, great. Because I want to be sure I know exactly what I'm looking for from them and see if they're a good fit. And I have something that they've, from free to, would you follow me on my YouTube channel? Okay, great. Here's my link.
Got it.
Gary,
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Real quick, what were the 2 questions? I apologize for barging in there. You said there's 3 other things. There was an email database, business cards. Oh, looks like you're on mute there.
The
Somehow.
I have a
7 levels,
YouTube
Bob?
channel that has over 200. So I'll ask them if they want to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I created a trifold. Now my trifold, when I hand it to them, when I meet them for coffee, I hand that to them and let them know that they can read more about what I offer, and they can check out my YouTube channel or even my Google business page, my website.
Gotcha.
So
Okay,
being
so
able to
those
have
are
these
kind of
little
just your
resources that they might be of interest for them wherever they're at.
channels. Okay. And then when you said, one of the things that I caught that was it makes a lot of sense is you said defining your ideal clients and partners. Part of defining that was figuring out what their challenges are, having a good elevator pitch, and there is 1 or 2 other things.
Yes. I say the ideal client, I'm going to say mine is professionals and small business owners. I'm going to say the age is between 30 and 65. The qualities about them, they're open, willing, ready, serious, optimistic, positive, honest, just like me. I'm my own ideal client. I will say too, we have to be our own ideal client. Would you buy from you? So I'm my own ideal client. I'm open. I'm willing to invest in myself to make some changes. And I do have those challenges, and I would love to know the best networking practices. I would like to master some follow-up. That's what I'm saying. They have to think of 3 or 4 things that you offer, boom, 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 and see if they would fit in any of those boxes that you offer. It's like, if I want to ask you to go to eat, do you want to have sushi, chicken, or pasta? What would you like? I got to find out, have something I can offer to them so I can steer it in a direction that's going to move it forward to what they're interested in. If not any of those 3, anything that would interest you.
Yeah.
Like, even because I carry a binder with me, and in the binder, in the front page, it says what I offer, and it says services, and it has each one of the services spelled out, the workshop spelled out, just the name of it, and then guest presentation. So I just kind of go over briefly, and I say, well, any of those interest you? So I'm treating what I offer like a menu, and then asking if they have any questions, any interest, any of those that they like to, would be interested in learning more about. And then I can move into the tab that has the information that, has what I have to offer, so we can define it in more detail. And and actually show things like how I stay organized. I have a sample page of my business cards organized. I have a sample of what the follow-up success guide looks like. I have a sample of networking goals worksheet, what that looks like. I have a certificate of completion of what that looks like. I think when people, myself included, when I used to sell purses, interchangeable purses, if they passed them around, they touched it. Oh, what's this? I like this. Like talking about it's nice, but I get giving people something they can read and see and touch. It's much more tangible to them to go, oh, okay, now I understand what you're talking about. So, and seeing how it could be a benefit to them. Would it add more value to get better results to what they're currently doing, which is probably no plan and no goals.
Carrie, I have a question.
Sure.
Thank you so much for this training. It's been really wonderful. I have a question. So, in regards, you were talking about having the menu and something tangible to go through and present to them. How can we translate that to in the financial space? Because it's so individualized, we don't necessarily have something tangible to show them. And I was thinking about my elevator pitch and the client, the perfect client that I'm looking for. And like you were saying, the different menu items that we or different points of pain that we can address. So would it be something like, hi, my name is Jennifer, and my ideal client is someone who would like to be financially independent, or someone who would like to win with money, or something like that, you think?
No, because somebody's nobody. So I'm looking for an
Okay.
individual professional who is open and willing to make some changes when it comes to their financial needs and their financial wealth. If this is something that interests you, that you'd like to interested in learning more about, I'd love to connect with you.
Okay, so I need to go and make it more specific.
Correct.
Okay.
And then also using the word help. If you Google the word help in an elevator pitch, it sounds passive and it sounds like it devalues ourselves. So using a word that something more I specialize in, I specialize in this, or I use the word serve. How may I serve you? How may I assist you? I mean, because I never liked the word help. If you Google it, it gets overused too many times and that makes it repetitive like everybody else. And so in order for us
It
to
is
stand
very
out,
weak.
there are a lot of people at networking events that are in insurance and real estate. It's like, well, what's going to define you from standing out different from what everybody else says at a networking event that does that line of work? And getting more involved in what they're at. Like, does your insurance person, do you value insurance? Is this something that interests you? Are you currently working with somebody who's working well with you? Have you checked your statement in a while? Okay. Do you feel you're getting the most out of your time spent with that? Do you feel it's time to review it? Okay, great. Well, is that something that would interest you? Great. Well, I'd love to have coffee with you next week. Would that interest you?
That's a great thing. So are you saying you have some different menu items based upon the person that you're meeting that you would say, or the network group that you're meeting?
Well, I always focus. Well, back in March, I met somebody who talked about Gemini. I didn't know much about Gemini, but I did find out how it operated, and I redid my whole trifold. And the trifold set, Gemini says, focus on one thing. And I'm like, okay. So this way, since March, I have been focusing only on the networking skills practice workshop at networking events, nothing else. Only until they meet me, until I can go and share other things that might, what I'm hearing them say, like some people are new to networking, so I might suggest the goal setting workshop because they haven't focused on things that they still need to finish on before they learn new skills in networking and adding that onto their plate. So I do only talk about, because I do have no competition at these networking events. Nobody's heard of a networking skills practice workshop before. We're at a networking event, so there is no teacher. So, I mean, I feel I just wanted to start with that and just ask if they would, what some best practices are. They like to know them. How's your follow-up? How do you keep up with your follow-up? I mean, what's your strategy like on a scale of 1 to 5? How would you rate your follow-up strategy? How do you keep cards organized? Just things like that. Like, what do you use for conversation starters? So again, I just ask people questions, and the more you ask questions, the more you're going to be involved in knowing what they want versus us telling them. And so I'm really getting to know them and seeing where their pinpoints are to find out they're really somebody that really shows interest. Of like, oh yeah, that sounds interesting, Carrie. I'd like to know more. Like some people say, oh, I got that pretty down pretty good. Okay, I'm not here to fight you about it. That's where you're at. That's fine. Some people say that's great. I love what you're doing, Carrie. I think I need that. Wonderful. Why do you say that? How soon do you want to meet for coffee? So if people think where they're at is perfectly fine, that's fine. I could be available to them down the road, or they know somebody, because nobody really was taught networking how to do this thing. I mean, I'd say I focus on my follow-up is usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 4, and that's where I do most of my follow-up. I mean, I sat in the car yesterday for an hour or even at Starbucks and just sit here and keep doing follow-up and reaching out to people, whether it's email, call, or text. I mean, I'll use using sports as my analogies to most things, and like baseball, 3 strikes, you're out. There's 3 ways to reach out to people and giving 3 people three months to meet for coffee. So I can email people, call, text within a month. No response, try another month. Call, email, text the next month. No response, card goes in the garbage. Now, if they did reach out to me, I will, look forward to having that coffee appointment. Great. That's all we're doing. I said, I just wanted to follow with you and, how we can connect and build our professional network. That's something that still interests you. Great. How's your schedule next week or the following week? Where do you live? Okay, great. Well, why don't we go to find a mutual coffee spot? Oh, find out they're at 2 hours away. Okay, well, let's meet virtually. I did yesterday. I met some people in Miami and I'm in Broward. So we're going to meet virtually versus in person.
Gary, this may sound very, very basic, but I'm very new to networking.
Okay.
I was a clinician for 13 years, so I didn't do much networking. I was just in the hospital. Any tips or advice for where to start networking? For some context, I'm in mid-Michigan. I know there's not nothing going on, right? That's a cop out, but it's not like I'm not in South Florida, right? Or I'm not in Chicago or something like that. Any tips on where to start trying to find? I've looked at like joining the Chamber of Commerce and I'm like, man, I just don't think that's probably the fit. Where would you advise someone to kind of start?
Eventbrite.
Okay.
Eventbrite and Meetup is where you can find events.
Can I mention to that, Todd? Yes, go to
Sure.
Eventbrite, put on the
Okay.
browser, networking, and where you are. And that's what
Okay.
I was doing yesterday. That's where I post the event, and that's where I see event. Just to give you an idea, they have
Mhm.
tons, and one of them, I love the concept. And Carrie, I don't know if you have been there, like the speed networking, max 30 people. They are all in a restaurant in a big table, and you rotate. It's like a speed dating. So you
Mhm.
have certain amount of time with each person, but at least you know with 30 people you're going to connect. I
Okay.
also went a week ago, 10 days ago, and I think it's a brilliant idea. A friend called 8 people that he knows, everybody in business. We're going to meet today at 12:30 at this restaurant. Everybody pay their own lunch. And we were in a small table, 8 people, and everybody have about 2 minutes to talk about themselves. Then it was casual conversation. Everybody shared the business card, 1 hour, and bye. And it was
Mm.
great because it's more intimate and you have a great opportunity to talk to others. So you can create that within your area. Go online, look at the business, think that you think it will be a good match for you. Again, realtors, mortgage people, or the industries in license, and call them, look online, look and say, hey, I'm in the same business, I'm looking to network. Are you open to go for lunch this Friday, 12:30 in this place? Boom, that's it. And we can talk this weekend.
Thank you for sharing. I will say when it comes to meeting people, I prefer to call it coffee because you don't want to get a server involved because I think spinning a server is going to get too much complication and too distraction. So keeping it light and simple. If it's lunch at Panera, great, or Prima Gourmet, for sure. If you stay away from Starbucks, but find a local coffee shop that you feel is local for you. You can hear each other because I feel having a server, no lunches with the server, but if you want to have lunchtime, yes, no happy hours.
Mhm.
The goal is like
Mhm.
casual, just like dating. Just get a coffee, like coffee or not, just a verbiage.
Right.
You're not going to BNI, you would never know, or NPI, these lead groups. One-on-one is a very common word that most people use is what they use in that group. You have to meet the members, and it's called a one-to-one. But if you don't go to those groups, you would never even know what the heck that means. But meeting
Yes,
for
sir. What's
coffee
up?
is the lingo.
Yeah, you need the conference number.
Right. Make sure you mute yourself, guys, if you're on the phone. Jeez. All right. Sorry about that.
But I can, Jerry or Michael, I can send you if anybody wants to, if anybody's interested in the workshop and want to have, reach out to me, feel free. I'd love to connect with you and work with you and bring these results like Jerry has. And I'm sure he'll be, he'll be sharing with you guys down the road and, want to create the success like Jerry's been doing.
I'll tell you guys really quick too, like what I do, because I'm just looking for people that I have something in common with, like
Mhm.
that I would want to like talk to again that are maybe in a related field. Like I'm always looking at, hey, if you're in real estate, we have things that can complement each other. Let's get together and see if we can, pass some referrals, right? So I always ask people like, hey, what's working for you right now? Like I want to know about their business because a lot of times they won't even think about it, like, oh, it sucks, everything's slow or whatever, you know what I mean? And there's an opening maybe for the recruiting conversation. Typically, like and Todd, you don't have to pay for anything. Like there's a
Yeah,
lot of groups
sure.
you can go as a guest and check it out, and you don't have to make
Yeah.
any commitments.
Right.
I started a BNI group. I went and visited a bunch of them, and then I couldn't find one that had an opening. So I started one, and I got 40 people together, and I started a group, and I was the president for a year, and it was great. But something like that. I mean, that's a big commitment because it's every week. So I don't know if
Mm.
that, you can't just join these groups and then expect something's going to happen with business.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. It's going to be a long because you're building relationships still. But on the one-on-one
Yeah.
side, I think that you could go to these groups, you could visit, meet people like, oh, I have something in common with this person. Let's grab coffee. And then I follow up with them too afterwards. Like I'm still connecting with them, like still,
Mhm.
if like, for example, I always look for something I can do to help them. Maybe it's an introduction, maybe it's um something. Like one person that I met was changing careers, and I just gave them encouraging things about being an entrepreneur because they're starting off in real estate, and then all of a sudden they became a client because I was encouraging them being an entrepreneur. They've only been an employee and it was their first, you know what I mean? So it's like there's always like, what can I do value? Doesn't have to be
Mhm.
giving them something. I don't do lunch. I don't pay for lunch because that can get very expensive fast and it can be a waste of time. And it's an hour. Like go to coffee. What I like doing, and I don't know, Carrie, like this is just me, but I did this and it worked, is I had an office where I drove past 3 Starbucks. So I'd go grab a cup of black coffee at the first one, meet people, right? And then go to the next one. I had the same cup of coffee, go to the next one. Every time I'm meeting someone, they have scrubs on. Hey, you work at the hospital. They have a suit on, they're in banking, they have their name. If anybody has their name tag on, I see their name, just little things like that. But I'm always like looking for a way to connect. Like one guy,
Mhm.
I was in a shoe store and I was like, hey, do you walk a lot? And he was like, yeah. And we just started laughing. And I was like, hey, man, you worked at Aflac. So that was, you know what I mean? It's like always just trying to find a connection, something in common. Hey, maybe there's a way, and I know Carrie doesn't like help, but I'll just say, hey, maybe there's a way we can help each other out. Or this is my favorite one. This one's worked for clients and recruits, but their card's on a bulletin board. Hey, you probably put your card there because you wanted someone to call you, right? It works. Ha 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 ha. We're in fields where we could probably help each other out. When would be a good time to connect for coffee? Just like little silly, stupid things like that. Like people, they put their card there. They want someone to call them. You called them. It worked, right? I mean, it's just simple little things. But I would say, like, guys, I know we're doing a lot on Zoom and we do a lot of prospecting on Zoom and we do, I actually built a team that all we did is prospecting on Facebook and social media, right? Before PropHog, that's like how we got a lot of business partners. It was all Facebook and social media. So you just have to be creative, but I think it mixes it up a little bit because we're so focused on all of these people all over the place. Like, let's build some community and build some relationships locally. And those are things that I would be looking to do at least maybe once, twice a month. And I like what Mark was asking, like, what do I do next? Well, if we have something in common, I like the guy, like, hey man, and I know that there's something we can help each other out with. Let's grab a cup of coffee. Let's see but I'm interested in what they're doing more than what I'm doing. And then they'll ask, like I'm asking them all the questions, doing the form, right? Then I'm like, hey, and so for example, let's say I meet with someone. I met with a guy at what's it called, Publix, and he was wearing a tie. Said, hey, are you in banking? No. Oh, I'm in healthcare. I do sells nursing homes or something like that, right? And I was like, oh, great. I go, listen, you know how people like you are looking for clients to be in nursing homes, blah 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 blah. Well, I actually help people, have the resources so they can be there. Maybe there's some way we can work together. Let's meet up. Something like that. Like for Bella, hey, you know how teachers don't get paid enough and they spend all this time as a teacher and they're but they have summers off. Well, I help people who are in that position make extra money in the summer with financial education. Would you be open to learning more, right? And then it's just like little things like that. But I'm always in there like looking for like who are the 2 or 3 or 4 people that I would connect with, have the same energy. They're ambitious. Some of these networking events are a waste of time too. I mean, I think Carrie, they're never a waste of time, but sometimes, I mean, a lot of times they're always like everybody's trying to sell each other some shit, right? It's like, all right, that's great. You kind of have to filter through that, but at the same time, it's a skill that you're practicing, and you never know who you're going to meet. And sometimes you meet the person on the way in that's not even there, right? Or on the way there, or on the way out, or something like that. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, well, stay open and open to anything that pops up in front. If there's a human being, just walk up and stick your hand out and introduce yourself. I mean, at the end of the day, have goals and I never waste time because I value my time. So I trust that I'm there for a reason and somebody's there to meet me. So I'm here to meet
Yep.
them. We're looking for each other. I popped in, why not? So keeping that open mind and positive attitude and where you're at and allow yourself to see what shows up. And
And
that's
I'd
the
say
most
too,
important.
like just look sharp wherever you go. You know, like that was I was taught that at Merrill Lynch. Like, hey, you're dealing with people. My minimum is $1 million. Like, look sharp wherever you go. Like if I'm going to the supermarket, I'll wear a polo. Like I don't just go in my pajamas. You know what I mean? It's because you just never know who you're going to
Yeah.
meet en route.
Smile, Hannah.
Smile. Carrie, thank you
First
so
start to be
much.
inviting.
This is really great.
Awesome, guys. Hey, well, I look forward to seeing everybody who's going to be in Nashville. That's going to be an incredible trip. I know, guys, we do have our phone zone that started at 11, so let's get our teams on. I know yesterday we had our intro and Isaac was hosting. And here's the thing: if no one shows up, you're making your calls. So who cares, guys? Who cares? You set up time. You keep that time for yourself. But make sure, guys, activity is everything, right? And I was talking to someone the other day. It's like, is it really? Did I just need to make more calls? Well, yeah, that's the name of this game, right? So whether it's out prospecting, getting more contacts, whether it's out, whether it's making your calls during the day, it is an activity thing. And if you guys want to really change your business, it's up your activity level, right? Up your activity level, regardless of where it is, whether it's networking, whether it's making your dials, like we got to up our activity level. I look forward to once again seeing everybody in Nashville. That's going to be really great. But guys, we're halfway through the month right now, just about, and we got a lot of you guys are on a run to get your promotion knocked out by the end of October. I know I've talked to a lot of you guys one-on-one about that. What I would do is set up an appointment with Adriana and make sure, and I set one up with Mark later on today. Is like, let's check your pipeline. Let's make sure everything that we can get to close this month, right? I know Alon's got. In fact, I want to give a shout out to Todd. Todd's on the list for Hawaii right now. Big deal. Out of 70,000 people in the company, he's in the top 5, right? And it's April 1 through the end of December. And I was looking at Mark's numbers. Mark would be whooping everybody, but we got to get a lot of these deals closed, and he'd be on the list, right? And then I was looking at Alon's, and Alon's got a lot of a business that's going to close this month turned in, right? And I was looking at the numbers, and that puts Alon on the list. That fires me up. So make sure you guys know, like, first and foremost, what does it mean to be on a run, right? Being on a run means like you have a goal set in mind and you're going to do whatever it takes on a daily basis to get there. You're going to be putting in the effort, putting in the work, right? Things are going to happen, right? People are going to say no that you think are going to say yes. But the reality is that if you build a pipeline big enough, like it doesn't matter if that happens, right? So we got to be building that pipeline. So if you need activity, guys, there's Ethos leads available. There's 700-800 of them. That are $9. Get another batch, right? And then go make the calls, right? Maybe it's networking at some events, right? Maybe it's working an event, sponsoring an event, right? Maybe that's something that would work. Maybe it's working that warm market that we have, right? Make sure, guys, like there's so many ways like you can be creative. I was reading an article. There's a lady who literally came in dead broke, almost homeless, and she bought like these 5-cent leads or whatever that were just garbage and bought a couple thousand, and she went out and made 30 grand her first month, right? Like you guys are not far away from that. But if you're not putting the activity in, right? If you're not putting in the activity, don't expect the results, right? You got to put the activity in. It's so imperative. Like it's not a forever thing, by the way. This is a temporary thing. You put in the activity and you're growing your business and growing your team, right? All of a sudden, you'll start seeing that it's not relying all on you. But in the very, very beginning, which is where a lot of you are right now, it is relying on you. And that's okay. That's going to build a muscle that you need to have to be a leader in this business, right? Everybody wants to be at the top, but not everybody wants to do the work. right? Everybody wants to go to Hawaii, but they don't want to get on and make more than their 20 calls a day or whatever. So I want to challenge you guys, because you guys are in the Frontline chat, like, be accountable in that chat. It's not meant to beat you up. It's meant to build you up, right? It's meant to build you up. It's meant to challenge you. It's like, it gets you competitive, right? Hey man, this person's kicking my butt. You know, people ask like, how was I #1 in the world at Gartner? When I went from zero, $300 in the bank, no money, right? And all this debt in my monthly bills. I just looked at who's doing the most effort, and I went out there and I did more than them. That was it. It was that simple, right? So if you guys are worrying about money right now, up your activity level, right? If you guys are worrying about, hey, I need to grow my team, up your activity level. You know, I had a good conversation yesterday with Jennifer, and she and Tom's going to be taking on the clients. And I said, hey, your job's just as important. Like, she's like, I really like calling Prop Hog. And she's been doing really well with that. I'm like, well, listen, your job's just as important, because you got to bring in the inventory to be able to have those appointments. So understand, guys, like, it's not one or the other, it's both. Like, you got to be doing both, right? So recruit in the morning, sell in the afternoon, field training in the evening. Write that down. Recruit in the morning, sell in the afternoon, field training in the evening. Recruit in the morning, field help with clients in the afternoon, field training in the evening, right? Like, literally set up your day for success before you start. All right. And it is going to take a lot. Like, everybody, once again, everybody wants to be wealthy and everybody wants to be financially independent, but it's going to take everything you got, right? I'm going to send you guys a video of this guy, Andy Frisella. Like, his first 5 years in business, he made like 20 grand, right? You guys heard Greg Cap's story. His first like 5 years in business, he made like 30 grand, right? And now he's making $1 million a month or $1 million a year, right? So the reality is like, it's going to take a lot of that effort up front. You have to just embrace it, be good with it. But also, we created a community of people, like, we're doing it together. Like, that makes the load easier for you, right? Because you're not alone. And that's where engaging in the chat, engaging with this session here in the Frontline. I wanted to give you guys another dynamic, because I built my whole business prior to GFI networking my brains out. Like, my nickname was the mayor, because I went to every freaking event out there, because I moved to a city that I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anybody in that city. I moved from Michigan to Florida. I knew nobody, right? And within 2 years, I'm like running the town, because I was like going to everything, trying to meet everybody. And I didn't even know what I was doing at the point, but I just knew like I needed to get out there so people know who I am. Like, you want to be like, what is the outcome of this, Mark, when you meet with somebody? You want them to know that you're the go-to guy if they know anybody that needs help.
Mm-hmm.
You know how people are really worried about their taxes right now in retirement? You know how they're worried about that, Mark? Well, guess what? We help people convert to tax-free money. Do you want to know more? That's it. Hey, you know how people are really worried about when they get sick and they can't stay in their home? Let's say you're talking to a real estate person, right? Well, we help people protect against that. Would you be open to learning more? Let's chat. Let's talk, right? You know what I mean? Like, make them curious about what you're doing. But we got to be out there like Don King. You guys know who Don King is, right? Don King, the promoter, right? That's what you are. This is a promoting business. This is a marketing business, right? Closed mouths don't get fed. All right. So thank you again, Carrie. I appreciate that. That was awesome, right? Thank you, Jerry, for setting this up. Glad we got to mix it up a little bit for you guys today. And I want to say something too. It's funny because we assume people know how to do this stuff. And I'm glad that you said that you wanted to learn more, Todd. Like, that's a big deal. Like, we kind of assume like, oh, everybody should know how to network. Well, it's okay if you don't, but it's something that you should work on, and it should be part of your business plan, is meeting people out in the community and building a local presence and being the go-to person in your community.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So awesome, guys. Let's have a great day. Be accountable in the chat. Let's hit the dots, hit the phones this morning. Let's go make something happen. All right, let's go for it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Carrie. Thanks, Jerry. Thank you, Michael.
Everyone.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks,
Thank
Carrie.
you, Michael, Carrie,
Thank you.
Carrie, everybody else. Thank you. It's great stuff.
Jerry, I'm gonna jump. Voy a tu cuarto un momentico, okay? Tu cuarto, óyeme a mí. Fresca.
Tu cuarto.